Well, that was a average Yoshimitsu player, I guess. Every Pokemon challenge
Pokemon
run on
Platinum
YouTube.
was one of the Pokemon games released by Game Freak. In fact, it was released so much that it even came out on the DS, selling at least 20 copies at my local Game Crazy. And despite it being one of Nintendo's top sellers for Wii U, people still have a lot of unanswered questions about Pokemon Platinum. One of the most prolific questions burdening gamers everywhere is more hypothetical than concrete. Is it even possible to beat it? Especially if you only use Pokemon? For most people throughout history, the answer would be a resounding no. Until today. That's right, today I'll
What?
be attempting a Pokemon Platinum Pokemon only run. The rules for this run are simple. 1. I can only use Pokemon that I find in the wild or receive as a gift in the game. 2. If a Pokemon faints, it is considered unusable until I either use a revive on it or fully heal it at a Pokemon Center. 3. I must nickname every Pokemon I catch if I want it to have a nickname. 4. None of my Pokemon can exceed the level cap of 100 before the champion fight. And 5. Battle style will probably remain on Switch. Pokemon Platinum is a hard game, including some difficult fights like Cynthia and... Does my team of underdogs have what it takes to conquer the Sinnoh region and become champions of the Pokemon League? Or will Pokemon Platinum all over us? One way or another, the run begins now. Right off the bat, we get to pick our starter Pokemon. In this game, you have the choice between Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. In this kind of run though, Turtwig is the obvious choice. Chimchar has great speed and a useful stab combination, Piplup has great defensive typing and decent bulk and power, but Turtwig has the distinct advantage of turning into a really cool guy with a tree on his back when he evolves, so I end up going with him. On the way to Rourke, I end up catching a Starly, a Shinx, and a Ponyta. I'm a little nervous going into the Rourke fight, but I'm confident that with the right strategy, I can pull off a win. The fight against Rourke begins, and I'm already sweating, as Mr. Turtle the Grottle starts the fight missing 8 whole health points. Thankfully, I thought of a clever workaround. I ran the calcs, and it turns out that Mr. Turtle can get a sneaky one-shot with Absorb, healing him back to full in the process. Unfortunately, I made a major strategic blunder. I forgot to edge my Pokemon to the next level, so unfortunately, Mr. Turtle is left at level 18. This has me extremely worried for Onix. My fears are immediately validated as Onix comes in and nails Mr. Turtle with a massive rock throw, doing huge damage and putting my entire plan in jeopardy. Thankfully, Mr. Turtle somehow ekes out another KO with Absorb. It's looking dicey, but this run might just be saved. I brace myself as Cranidos is sent out. Now I'm very worried here, because Cranidos has Mold Breaker. I have absolutely no idea what that means, but given that the game feels the need to let me know, this could get dangerous. Cranidos attacks. We take the hit, but Mr. Turtle whiffs his Razor Leaf. I was absolutely heartbroken when this happened. With 5 flinches and crits in a row, Cranidos threatens a KO on my entire team. It all rests on this next turn. And Cranidos goes for Leer. Whether it was sheer dumb luck or the AI giving me a break, we'll never truly know. But with this, Mr. Turtle is able to stabilize the situation and take Cranidos out with a super effective tackle, winning us a tough battle. With Rourke out of the way, our adventure...
Alright, because if I have to learn...
F Hero, thank you very much, ladies. The subbies and resubbies. Aye, guy.
When the game starts, it picks a starting location on the sequence. This is called the seed. Each seed can be considered a unique game of Platinum. Every single possible outcome of every single random event is contained on this sequence. If we want to play every possible game of Pokemon Platinum, we could play 4 billion games at the same time, one on each seed. Doing this would mean playing the game in all possible realities. Let's look at an example. If you flip a coin in the PokeWatch app, The game determines whether to show heads or tails by checking if the next number in the sequence is odd or even. If we flip the coin 100 times, how many flips could be heads? Normally, the answer would be 100, since you could flip heads 100 times in a row, despite it being very improbable. But we're no longer at the mercy of probability. There's only 4 billion possibilities. We just need to check all of them. Doing this directly in the game would take forever, as each coin flip takes a couple seconds to complete. Instead, I use my simulator, a perfect replica of the game that I built, which cuts out all the unnecessary waiting times, graphics, and sounds. It's highly optimized for exactly this purpose, simulating all 4 billion outcomes of Pokemon's random events, and I can do it millions of times faster than playing the game normally. In this case, I have the simulator show me the seed where it gets the most heads. This means that no matter what, you can get 80 heads at most. If I go into the game and find seed 2,462,131,795, we'll find that the coin does indeed land on heads 80 times within the 100 flips. This seed is actually unique. It's the only possible game that will get 80 heads. I know this because the simulator can show me how many heads every seed gets, which I've organized into this graph. As expected, the vast majority of seeds get somewhere close to a 50-50 split, with extremes at 20 and 80. Knowing this isn't particularly useful, but it demonstrates an important principle. Using the simulator, and the fact that Pokemon's random number generator isn't actually random, I can know what occurs in every possible game. But whether it's simulating coin flips or full battles, knowledge of all possible outcomes is just the first step. It's one tool among many that I'll need to beat every game of Pokemon Platinum.
I don't understand its title
all
though.
4 billion seeds are synced, and the main challenge for the rest of the run will be keeping them that way. Every seed will receive the same inputs, a predefined sequence of hundreds of thousands of button presses. With meticulous attention to detail and the simulator at my disposal, I can guarantee success in every possible game. But even with the simulator, I still have to make decisions. The first one to make is which starter to choose. Between the three, Chimchar is the required choice, due to having the highest speed stat and being the most offensively powerful overall. Of course, I actually receive billions of different versions of Chimchar. Every Pokemon receives minor variations in their stats, and gets one of 25 different natures. Each nature increases one stat by 10% and decreases another by the same amount. Given the sheer number of Chimchars, I'll basically always have to handle the worst case scenario. The first rival battle follows directly after. I lose this fight on purpose to avoid issues with some Chimchars winning and others losing, but this will be the only time I lose a battle. While that's happening, let's set up some ground rules. My goal is to ensure that my sequence of buttons reaches the credits in all possible games of Platinum. This is pretty easy, so as an added challenge, I'll be doing it under Nuzlocke restrictions. This means that Pokemon that faint can't be revived and must be released. If one of my team members faints in any seed, I must release them in all seeds. I'm forced to make an exception here for the first rival battle since I can't guarantee victory against him, but this will be the only one. Additionally, I'll only be able to catch the first Pokemon
But I don't understand one thing. He's using the same input to beat every seed. Right? But sometimes you will be beating the fight on a seed where you crit 5 times in a row or something, right? And what happens then? His character is already out of the fight, and he's still on the fight in other ones.
I encounter in each location.
He will explain.
I'll also be trying to beat each major battle at the lowest level I can. Going forward, I'll only be showing relevant seeds on screen, as well as this game, which will be our primary timeline. In every single patch of grass, a wild battle will start in some seeds, while nothing happens in others. To deal with this, I use the menu in the overworld to keep games outside of battles stalled while the others run away. Chimchar is faster than even the fastest Starlies in this grass, so running away will always succeed. The first real obstacle is youngster Tristan, who has a level 5 Starly that knows Quick Attack. Weak versions of Chimchar lose this battle at level 5, so we need to level up, but there's nowhere to gain XP outside of wild Pokemon battles. But Chimchar is too weak to handle wild Pokemon too. Scratch just doesn't deal enough damage. Luckily, Professor Rowan gives me the TM for return right after leaving the lab, which deals damage that scales with the user's friendship. In order to achieve maximum damage, I'll have to max out Chimchar's friendship. You can increase a Pokemon's friendship in many different ways, but the only one that I can make use of right now is taking 128 steps. There's only a 50% chance to gain one friendship per 128 steps, but that's not a problem. The simulator can tell me how many steps I need to take for all seeds to reach the max value of 255. Among all 4 billion possibilities, I have to take 128 steps at least 438 times, and at most 597 times, which occurs in exactly 32,768 different seeds. This means that if I want to guarantee Chimchar's friendship is max in every seed, I'll have to take at least 76,416 steps. I run back and forth in the Poké Center for a few hours to accomplish this, and by the end, Chimchar's return will have a base power of 102, which is over double Scratch's. With this, I'll be ready to take on wild Pokemon, but how can I be sure that I'm in a battle in every seed? Once again, I can use the simulator to find out how many steps I need to take before I'm guaranteed to be in a battle. This graph shows how many seeds find a battle at each step number. The vast majority of seeds will find a battle between 6 and 17 steps. But what we're interested in is the outlier at the bottom, which will take 155 steps to enter a wild battle. At least, it takes 155 steps.
This is fucking Giga Autismo, man. What the...